Hello! Here we are on slide 2. So, during the 6th century CE, Common Era, remember we're not as ancient as we were with the Greeks and the Romans, Japan began to undergo profound change because Buddhism had been introduced during the reign of Prince Shotoku, Shotoku, Prince Shotoku. So again, 6th century CE, Japan undergoes all these great changes because the prince at that time introduces Buddhism to Japan. And there's a lot of cultural and societal changes because of the explosion of this religion. And during the following 200 years, after Buddhism has become embraced in Japan, they start embracing the continental cultures from Korea and China and India. They start embracing all these other cultures as well, really enthusiastically, probably because before then Japan had been very isolated, and now all of a sudden they're embracing Buddhism and they're embracing what's going on in Korea and China and India, and they're learning about all these other cultures, and it's like a really exciting time for Japan. And some of the things that they were importing and learning about from these other cultures were writing and numerous forms of dance, including masked dances, where the dancers were wearing masks in their performances. And these masked dances became a really regular feature of the Japanese ritualistic and religious festivals. And one of these masked dances was called Bugaku, Bugaku, Bugaku. And this type of masked dance it still survives to this day in Japan, which is so cool. It is still performed today in Japan on important occasions at the imperial court of Japan and at certain shrines and temples. So it is an art form that has existed since the 6th century all the way until today, and it is still honored and performed. In the beginning, Bugaku was originally divided into 2 categories. They would call one category the dances of the right, which were those inspired by Korea, and the dances of the left, which were those inspired by China or South Asia. But nowadays they're pretty much wholly Japanese. They've sort of melded together and become like a wholly Japanese art form. So what Bugaku is it's a symbolic dance representation of one part of a whole story, typically the most interesting part of a whole story. And it's structured in terms of what the Japanese call jo, ha, kyu. Jo, J-O, ha, H-A, Q, K-Y-U. So it has a beginning. It has a breaking away from the beginning. It has a fast tempo. There's an emotional intensity and a vitality, a life to the performance. And it most likely exerted a really strong influence on the development of Noh drama, N-O-H, Noh drama, which we'll be talking about on later slides of Japanese theater. I know it's kind of tricky because, again, we're used to what we think of as plays, and this is a very different type of theater. This is an Eastern theater tradition. So on the next slide, don't go there yet, I'm not done here, but on the next slide I am going to show you a video of what Bugaku looks like, because I think it's better than just hearing me talk about it. You'll get a sense of what it really feels like and looks like. One thing that I have to share with you that it just touches my heart, is that in 1955, the Japanese government actually recognized Bugaku as a national treasure. Don't you love that? They recognized this form of theater, this form of masked dance, as a national treasure, which I just think is so lovely. And since then, it gained a much wider audience, and it's become the object of international scholarly research, so it's gotten a lot more attention. And because it amazingly still exists, and it amazingly is still performed to this day in its traditional form. Like they haven't changed it, they haven't messed around with it. It's still performed in its traditional form, the way it's been performed for centuries. We can actually still see a video of it to get a better idea. So on the next slide, click on over. There's not going to be a video of me on the next slide. I know, that's heartbreaking. Try to contain yourselves. On the next slide, just click on over to slide 3. Press play. That's the Bugaku video. Just check it out. It'll give you a good sense of what it looks like. And then I'll see you on slide 4. Okay? Enjoy.